Hello students, this is Shweta Yagnik, Assistant Professor at LG Institute of Engineering and Technology. I welcome you all in this video series of Python programming. The syllabus is designed by Gujarat Technological University. Okay, so we are going to study today control statements and control structure. Why we need control statements, that we are going to explore. Within control statements we are going to see if else, if-elif and nested if. Okay, and within control structure we are going to see loops for iteration, that is while loop and for loop. And in the at the end control structure we are going to see three control statements like continue, break and pass. So without wasting much time, let's begin with today's topic, that is first is conditional statements, right? So what is branching? So our code is made up of multiple lines. We don't want our each and every line to be executed sequentially all the times. At some point of time we want to make decision based on some condition. If the condition is true, we want to do some task, and if the condition is false, we want to do some other task, right? So for that we need to have the concept of branching, that we want to break our flow of control. At some point of time, if the condition is true, we want to follow some set of code, and if the condition is false, we need to follow some other way, right? So here in picture you can see the way of branching, and the first statement here by which we can do branching is if statement, and the syntax, right? If, then test expression, and then the statements to be followed if the condition evaluates to true. Next is if else statement. If the condition is true, what is to be done? Else, that means if the condition is not true, what is to be done? Next, if elif else statement, that means if condition number 1 is true, then we want to check some condition number 2. If that is true, what is to be done? That means within one condition, if we need to have other condition, and furthermore we can have if, elif, and lastly else. Next, nested if statement. So if condition, then maybe you can have if else. Okay, so one if, then within that one more if statement, that is nested if, right? So here now we will see the concept of indentation, right? What is indentation and why it is needed? So indentation, that means if we want to form a block, right? Within some condition we want to execute some set of code. For that we need to have a block. So how to form a block? Yes, we used to form a block in case of C or Java with the help of curly brackets, and we often forget to close it, right? So here in Python you don't need to worry about opening and curly brackets, but then you need to take care about indentation. What is indentation? You need to have a block, right, like this. Okay, here in example you can see num is there, our variable. Here you can see I am going to highlight it, right? So here num is equal to 3, and here I am making one condition, that is if it is greater than equal to 0, I want to print some message, and if it is not, that means else I need to print this message. So here you can see indentation within if block. After some one tab you can have this print statement. Here there is no requirement of any opening or curly brackets, right? So now we are going to see in Python programming, with the help of programs we are going to explore how to have these if else statements, right? So here we are going to write one variable, that is x, and initialize it to 10. Okay, and if x is greater than 10, we would like to print something. Here just see this colon, okay, after the if statement, and then one tab button to form a block, that means our indentation, and we are going to print x is greater than 10. Okay, this is the message which I want to show to user, but the string, it needs to be shown in single or double quotes. So this is our code that we want to print, right? So let us save it and execute it. So name of our file was example.py. So here nothing has happened. What went wrong? Let us go and check in the program. If x is greater than 10, and here we have declared x equal to 10. So here if I want to make this line printable, so I need to change the condition with x is greater than or equal to 10, right? So now the condition is true because s is equal to 10. So let us again execute the code and we are able to see the line that is x is greater than 10. Okay, now if I want to make change that if x is greater than 10, then it is okay, but if it is having less than 10 value, then what should happen? So you need to include over here else you need to print x is not greater than 10, right? This is the proper message I want to show to user. But here after else, don't forget to include the colon, otherwise it is going to give you compile time error. So here x is equal to 10 and I will just change it little bit so that it will definitely become false and it will go into else part, right? So it is going to give me message x is not greater than 10. Let us execute it. So x is greater than 10. Why it is giving me? Because I have not saved the program. So now I have saved and going back. So x is not greater than 10. So this is what I want to have. So this is the example of if and if else. Two things we have done. Now we will see the if elif part. Now I want to check if x equal to 10. This is my check. Okay, so here what I want to print is x is equal to to 10, right? Save the program and rest of the code will be same. So here x is equal to 10 because here our the value which is assigned to x is 10. So now just see this, we can here make three checks. First, x is greater than 10, x is equal to 10 with the help of elif, and lastly if it is not falling in condition 1 or 2, we will be having third part, that is else part. So this is how if elif and else if and else, right? So now what is next is nested if. Okay, with the help of suppose if I want to find out whether the given number is divisible by 3 and 2 both, okay, or exactly what it is divisible by, right? So we will check it like if suppose I am declaring x is equal to 10, if x modulo 2 equal to 0, then my number is divisible by 2. But then if I want to check one more thing, that x modulo 3 equal to 0, then in this case what I can say, here I forgot to include colon, right? So just include it. So if the number is divisible by 2 and divisible by 3 as well, we can print here message that x is divisible by 2 and 3, right? So this is the condition. Here I'll be including here else part, and within else part what I can write, print x is divisible by 2, because first part if condition, that is our this condition is true, that and we are here in else part, that means this condition is true, so it is divisible by 2 but not by 3, because this condition is false, and that is the reason why we are here in else part, right? So this is the thing. And similar we can write the code in case of else. So the outer else part, okay, and don't forget to include colon. So if x is, again we are going to check the same thing, if x is modulo 3 is equal to 0, x is not divisible by 2 because we are here in else part, not divisible by 2 but divisible by divisible by 3, and here in else part x is not divisible by 2 and not divisible by 3. Okay, Okay, right? So this is what we can do here. Let us execute the code. So x is divisible by 2 but not by 3. What was our value of x? That is 10. So 10 is divisible by 2 but not divisible by 3. So it is falling into this code. That's why it is giving me same. Okay, let me change here by 15. That means it is not divisible by 2 but it is divisible by 3. Let us check the code whether it is giving me same output or not. Yes, it is giving. So x is not divisible by 2 and divisible by 3. So this is how you can make use of nested if, where you need to incorporate many layers of condition in order to conclude something. So we have seen if else, if elif and nested if. Okay, so let us move and go back to our next topic. Next is control structure, that is repetition. Okay, iteration that we are telling. So repeated execution of set of statements is called iteration. So same as in case of conditional statement, we are here, first of all we need to check the test. If the test is true, then the set of code will get executed, and after the set of code is executed, again the control go back to check the test, so that in next iteration it will again check the condition. If it is true, the set of code will get executed, and this will happen repetitively. As soon as the test results into false, it will stop iteration. So next topic, that is while loop. So in order to have the iteration, we are having two approaches. First is while loop and second is for loop. So first of all we are going to see the for while loop, and the control and the syntax for the while loop is while test expression and body of while. Okay, so next is while loop with else. That means if the condition becomes false, then the else part will get executed. Okay, so we are going to see practically how to implement this while loop. Okay, let's clean the code. So while, suppose here I am declaring one variable I, it is an iteration variable. Okay, let us store it with 5. While I is greater than 10. Okay, I am initializing this I with 1, and my condition is if I is greater than 10 colon, then what should happen? I just simply want to print I. Okay, and after printing I, what I want is I equal to I plus 1, because we need to increment iteration variable. So at the time of entry, what will be the value of I equal to 1, and let us check the condition, that is I is greater than 10. It is true, so it will print the statement, and last code we are going to increment I plus 1, that is 1. Now I will become 2. So let us save and execute the code and see what will be the output. So here, okay, so it was not printing because here I have given the condition such that I is greater than 10. At the first time I is equal to 1, and I greater than 10 will be evaluated into false. That is the reason it is not going inside this loop, inside this block, right? So that's why I have just made the change, and again try to execute the code. See, it is printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, right? So this is how the iteration will happen. So if I want to print say hello many times, and if I am telling you to print hello many times, so here I can also include the iteration variable, that is I. So let us make this change and re-execute it. So hello 1, hello 2 and onwards. So this is the way how we can iterate through same set of instruction, same set of code, so that it will be executed repetitively, right? So this is all about while loop. Next is for loop we are going to see. So for loop, the syntax we are going to see first of all. So in syntax, the for and variable, that is iteration variable, okay, then in is membership operator, sequence, okay, we can have over here a string or list or tuple, okay, any sequence we can iterate using for loop. And then body of the loop, again for loop is having this version with else part. So if the condition becomes false, then else part will get executed. So in for loop we can also have the range function that we are going to see shortly. First of all, we are going to see how to iterate through a for loop, okay. So instead of this, let us have, so here we don't in for loop we don't require any iteration variable separately, or we don't need to increment the iteration variable separately. All will be automatically done by for loop. So that's the beauty of for loop. And if you want to iterate through any sequence, it is better to use for loop, okay. For I in suppose list, okay, and for that we need to first of all have the list. Here as a sequence we are going to, I'm going to initialize one list with variable 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. These are my elements of the list, okay. And here indentation, I just want to print the element. So what it is going to do, it will iterate through each and every element of the list, okay, sequence, and at a time I will be holding one element, okay. So it will be printed over here. So let us see the output of this code. So here I am going to execute it. Okay, so Python example, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So it has iterated through the list elements one by one, right? So next let us explore this range function, okay. I hope you remember earlier when we have discussed what the range function will be doing. It generates a list of integers, or rather arithmetic operations or arithmetic sequence or progression of the integers, okay. Suppose if I am writing range equal to 10, what it is going to do, it is going to produce the number between 0 and 9, okay, not including 10. That means if you have just specified range 10, it is going to give you numbers or list 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, but not including 10. So let us see and iterate through this range function, okay. So here instead of having list over here, I am just printing a range function, and within that I'm just specifying 10, okay, and I'm not making any other changes. And let's execute the code. What it is going to give me, from 0 to 9 all the numbers, okay. Now if you remember, I can also specify starting point, means if I don't want to start with 0, okay, by default it was starting with 0, but I want to start with 1 and go up to 10, means including 10, then this is the range you are supposed to give, right? Let us save this and execute it. See this, it is including 1 and going up to 10. Now can we give the step size over here? What is step size? It is the increment point, right? By default it is incremented by 1, 1, that means 1, then plus 1 will be 2, 3, 4, 5 and onwards, okay. But here I want increment of 2, that's why I have specified the step size equal to 2. Let's run the code and see. So 1, then plus 2, that is 3, then plus 2, that is 5 and onwards. So if somebody wants to iterate the code in reverse manner, so for example, if I want to start with 20 and go till 11, okay, go till 11, I want to include 11, so that's why I need to specify 10, and here the step size will be -1, right, because we want to decrement, we want to go in descending order. So let us see this, whether it is supporting or not. So from 20 to 11 in descending order. So range function will give such kind of execution based on the elements or arguments you have specified. Okay, so this is the range function, and similarly we can use the for loop in order to iterate each and every character inside a string. Here I am specifying one string, okay, and I will be having one character each time. So let us see this. Okay, so SHWETA, one character at a time, that is one by one stored within I, and it is going to give me this I, right? So okay, so here now I want to make a summation of all the elements that are stored inside my list. So I am just again iterating all the elements of list which I have already declared earlier, but now I just don't want to simply print it. I want its summation. So I will be needing one accumulator, that is sum. So here I am declaring one accumulator, and that is sum. Okay, so what I need to write, sum equal to sum plus I, right? This is the code I am supposed to write, and at the end, after iterating all the variables, I'll be printing over here final summation, right? So initially sum will be having 0 value. That 0 plus first element will get summed up and will be stored into sum. Then next will be 2, 3, 4. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 and plus 5. This is the this numbers summation will be accumulated inside sum. So let us execute the code and see the results. So answer is 15, right? So this is how you can use for function in order to execute different functionalities. Now we go back to our slides and see what is the next topic, that is control statements. The control statements are break, that will break the flow within a body or for loop. Okay, next is continue. It skips the remaining statements in the current iteration. Okay, if you don't want to go further and continue with the next iteration, that at that time we will use the continue. And next is pass. This is new in Python. If we are actually not sure what to do within this iteration, within this condition, then we can simply write pass. Pass is equal to like writing null statements, means you are not doing anything when that kind of condition happens. When you don't know what to do, you can use pass. So let us see the example and see how to use this kind of functionalities. We again using a range function in order to produce a list, right? So for I in range of 10, let's say 0 to 9, and if I'm making a check, if I equal to let's say 9, here the colon will be there, then I don't want to or I want to break. Okay, then next, if I equal to 7, in that case I would like to continue, and in case of if I equal to 5, I just want to have a pass, means I don't want to do anything in this case. Else colon, I will print value of I. Okay, this is how I want to execute each and everything. So what is your guess what will happen over here? So the range will produce, that means this function will produce 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 9. When we are iterating, if the 9 will come, it will break, means it will not go further, or if you want you can make it 8. Okay, so that after 8, 9 will not be printed, it will break the iteration, it will break this loop. Okay, if it is 7, we want to continue, or rather let us change and make it 3. So if it is 3, don't go further over here and just continue with the next iteration. If it is 5, again don't do anything, okay, as if it is not written, and otherwise it is going to print the value of I. So let us let us execute it. Okay, Okay, I have done one mistake. S is equal to 5 and here colon should be there. Okay, so value of I have not again included the I variable, that's why it was not giving me any value. Okay, so value of I 0, 1, 2, 3 is not there because for 3 what you have written, if you can remember, for 3 we will just continue, do not go here. For 5 we don't want to do anything because we have simply passed. For 8 we have break the for loop, that's why it will not go further. So after 7 you will not see any number because 8 onwards it will break, right? So I hope this set of example has made your concept clear, and in case of any doubt you can contact me, and see you soon in the next session. Keep learning till then. Thank you.